Hey friends, so I thought I would share today a little sequence for sciatica. This is really helpful for obviously sciatic pain, which kind of runs down the backs of the legs or the sides of the legs. It's also really good for just general sacral lower back pain. This is a sequence I did a lot when I was pregnant and really having that issue, but in general, I find it really helpful. So if you ever have issues in that lower back sacral area, this sequence is really great. Ideally, you do it every day, at least for a while, and then you can start doing it less. Do whatever pieces of it you can. I'm just going to show you the parts that really work well for me. Okay, so you don't actually need a yoga mat or any props for this. You can just lay down on the carpet or the floor, whatever you have available. And you don't have to be wearing yoga pants either. You can be wearing jeans or whatever you want. So I like to start on my back, neutral spine, just nice and relaxed, feet on the floor. Knees point up to the sky. I'm going to place my middle fingers on my hip points and my thumbs on my low rib. So what I want to do here is keep this area nice and steady. I'm going to inhale. On the exhale, gather pelvic floor in and up, and then scoop the belly button back towards the spine. So you'll notice I'm not actually changing anything in my spine. I'm just gathering everything in and up, and I'm going to try to keep that really steady. Okay. And then on my next inhale, I'm just going to lift up my right foot. And exhale, put it down. Inhale, lift left foot. Exhale, put it down. So again, the work here is to keep the finger points nice and steady. So that square is kind of drawing in towards itself and staying really nice and still. So this is excellent core work for almost everyone. This is one of the first core exercises I did after giving birth. So it's quite helpful for postpartum too, if you get the okay from your practitioner to do that. Great for lower back pain. It's just so effective for getting the transverse abdominis going, those sort of deeper, more supportive core muscles. So in general, with all of these exercises, you're kind of working your way up to about 20 of each one. You don't necessarily have to do that. You want to think about just going to the point of feeling a bit of fatigue. That means the muscles are strengthening, okay? So we're just going to go through here 2 more times each side. And obviously I've been talking, but you want to think about following your breath. When it comes to core, generally the slower you go, the more powerful that is. I'm going to take 1 more each side, keeping that belly button hugging in and back. Awesome. And then relax. So you can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide, or you can let the knees fall together, feet wide, and just take a moment to really relax pelvic floor and core. Believe it or not, sometimes we have lower back pain because our core muscles are too tight. So we want to make sure that we're also giving that a nice opportunity to relax. And there are lots of core exercises that you can do if you have one that you know works better for you. Feel free to do that one or add that one. I just find that one pretty good for most people. So next up, we're going to come to our side. I'm on my left side here. And this is really the juice of the sacral support work. Okay, I like to call this butt core. So we've got the knees together. Again, back is neutral. I'm just supporting my head on my hand, but I could also have it resting, or I could put a pillow under there with my arm forward. That would work too. And then just very mild engagement through the core. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. And I'm flaring my feet. So your core actually starts in your toes. So here's the exercise. We're going to open the knees, open the feet, close the knees, close the feet. Okay, knees open, lift the foot, knees together, foot comes down. Okay, so nice and simple. You can do this with breath. You don't necessarily have to. Again, we're aiming for move up to 20. So, maybe for today, especially if you've never done this before, even 5 might feel like, whoa, that's a lot. I'm aiming for about 10 here. 8 is a good number too. Again, you just kind of want to go to that place where you feel like, okay, I'm getting some work. I can feel something happening here. And you want to keep your hips nice and steady. So that right hip is resting over top of the left. Good. And again, especially if you're newer to this practice, you might find that it's pretty intense. So you can make a soft fist with your top hand and just pad out that outer hip gently. If you do this every day, over time, it will get easier, okay? And then this one I love partly because it's quite hard. So we're gonna, I'm just supporting my self with my right hand in front of me here, and I'm gonna extend out that top leg, point the toes. Again, gather in the belly, you wanna keep the hips nice and steady, and we're circling, okay? So again, we're aiming for about 10 in each direction. 7, 8, 9, 10, and then right away we switch directions. You want to think about the foot going above and below, slightly in front of and behind. So it's a little bigger than a dinner plate, maybe sort of a serving plate size. 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Okay, relax. Again, you can make that soft fist and just pad out. And, I've been doing this butt core for a long time. It still feels pretty intense for me. It's remarkably hard because it's just these tiny little muscles in the hips that we don't always have an opportunity to strengthen. So after doing that work, I'm going to come onto my back and take thread the needle. So the right ankle, that's the leg we were just working, comes across the thigh. You can stay there, or you can hold on to the left leg and kind of hug in. If you haven't seen this one before, it's really good for sciatica. It's one of the most common ones that's prescribed. So we'll just show you from here. The right hand goes in between the legs and we're holding on. If you're quite tight in your hips, it's actually really helpful to put a little prop underneath your bum just to elevate you slightly. And what that does is it just brings gravity onto your side a little bit so you're not struggling to reach for the leg. You want to keep your feet flexed so that the knees aren't getting compromised here, and you could do a little rock from side to side and you can kind of see how that feels. Ideally, you're feeling a nice stretch right where you felt the work, okay? So just checking in with that. And, maybe about 5 breaths here. You could do 10, just sort of until it feels complete for you. And then we'll release the legs, give them a little shake, and then we'll come to the second side. So I'm just going to flip around so you can still see my face, not looking at my butt. So I'm laying on my side, supporting my head. Again, just a natural curve in the lower back. The knees are slightly pointed down, so not straight forward, but a little down. Feet are nice and active, hips are stacked, belly gently engaged. Lift, lift foot, knees together, feet together. Open, open, close, close. So try not to kind of lean forward and back as you're doing this. Try to keep your spine nice and steady. So you're just moving from the hip, and you better believe that'll be harder, okay? And I am breathing deeply, and I do sort of breathe with this one, but it's generally kind of as I'm going up, I'm inhaling, and as I'm coming down, I'm exhaling, but just keep your breath nice and long and even. And I think that's around 10. I'm going to do one more. Again, you could aim for 20. And then we'll relax and pad out the outer hip. And if you're exhausted after 3, just do 3. That's perfect. Rest. And then maybe next time you can do 4. Just see how it goes. Okay. Kind of depends on your body. And then I'm supporting with my fingertips in front of me. That top leg is going to go to straight, floating. And again, I'm just working a little bit with the core to keep this hips nice and steady. And I'm circling. I find the second side is always harder because we sort of forget that the supporting side is actually working a little bit as well. Three, 2, 1, and then we'll reverse. And again, if you're feeling like, wow, this is so intense, just do, until you feel some fatigue, and then maybe you can add on a bit next time. We're not here to kind of force the muscles. Okay, you just want to work until you feel some work, and that'll be beneficial, okay? So just that nice dinner plate size. About 3 more here. 2, and 1. Amazing. And we relax. We take that nice fist. I definitely feel that one every time. That's why I like that one so much. It's pretty intense. And then again, we'll roll onto our backs. Take that leg we were just working and take the thread, the needle. So got that kind of 90-degree or so shape with the leg. We're holding on if possible. And if this is where you feel the stretch, keep your foot on the floor, that's fine. Okay. You could also use a strap if your leg is a little farther away from you and you want to hug in a bit. A strap works really well for some people. Feet are flexed, and again, if you want a little rock from side to side, you can do that, or just be still. Belly can be relaxed here. Nice deep breath, soothing the outer hip. So usually when there's sciatica, the hips are a bit too tight. That's often what's going on. But what we don't realize is that we also need to strengthen those supporting muscles. And for me, this little sequence, which has strengthening and stretch, is really pretty magic for my lower back. If I do this now at this point, 3 times a week or so, I don't usually have pain in my back anymore. And it was years, I'll say years of pain in my lower back. Good. Okay, so again, just taking about 5, maybe 10 breaths there. If you want more, you can absolutely have more. That's a beautiful pose for sciatica. Release the legs. I like to shake them up to the sky. You could also have feet on the floor and just wash them side to side. The windshield wiper is a really nice one too. And there's one more exercise in the sequence. It's a Pilates style bridge. So I've got the feet on the floor, knees pointed up to the sky. And personally, I like outer hips distance apart. So, classically the heels are a little narrower, but I find if I just go my actual outer hips distance, that works for me. So I want to lift up my toes. My heels are close to my bum, but they're not touching. I can touch with my fingertips, but they're not on my bum. And you might need to adjust that a little bit as you go. I want to have a natural curve in my lower back, and I want to find that engagement through the core that we talked about before. So pelvic floor is drawing in and up, belly button scooping towards the heart, but the spine isn't moving. Hands could be down by your sides, or you could do a little robot arm if you want. Toes lifting and pressing down, and then we just lift and lower. It's not very high, okay? And we're aiming again for about 20, but see how that goes for you. This is a glute strengthening exercise, okay? It's not really meant to be a big back bend. And one of the ways I find really helpful to engage the glutes is to press into the heels to lift. And you could even just actually squeeze the glutes as you go up, but just make sure that the knees are pointing straight forward. Sometimes when we engage the glutes, the knees flop open. We want to keep them steady, okay? So I'm just lifting, squeezing, and then I'm coming not quite all of the way down. So I'm not totally releasing on the way down, just so that you know kind of how I'm doing that. Not doing this with my breath, I'm going a little bit faster. And again, when I'm doing this one, playing with my kiddo on the floor, I'm not counting, I'm not breathing, but I'm just trying to pay attention enough that I can feel when there's a little bit of work in my glutes. Okay, after about 20 of those, or just when you start to feel fatigue, you're more than welcome to stay. If you want to take it into a little bit more of a bridge, that can actually feel quite nice on the back. So you can press into the elbows a bit more, lift the bum up, maybe even interlace the fingers and just take that nice back bend. Sometimes when there's lower back pain, back bends really benefit that. We don't want to stay too long or go too extreme there. And come back and rest. I'm going to take my feet a bit wide, knees together, and just take a couple of breaths to soften and relax. Beautiful. And voila, that's it. That's all you have to do every day for the rest of your life. Just kidding. If you can do it every day, it's super, super helpful for really strengthening these muscles in the glutes that support the back. Super good for realigning when things are a little off balance, which is super common as well. And this type of exercise is also really supportive for pelvic floor health. So that's something also that you might be thinking about if you're pregnant or postpartum. This is a super awesome sequence for that. So try this, let me know how it goes. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any questions, of course, just pop them into the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have more videos like this and others coming, and feel free to request anything in particular that you're curious about as well. I hope you have a great day and a happy lower back.